Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episodes 12 and 13 of Hilda, the finale of season 1. And I'm laughing because it's always funny to me. It's always almost like a spike of joy to me when a series that I had previously dropped, I pick up again for whatever reason. Sometimes because someone requests I check it out again and uses it as a donation reward. Sometimes, like this, it's just something I choose to give another chance to. It's always just a spike of joy for me to get to the end of a season of that and realize, okay, no, I'm actually kind of getting into this. I actually regret dropping it. And while this show is by no means perfect and no means on the level of others that I've reacted to and others that could definitely be described this way, it, without question, has made me regret dropping it. There's been a lot of great episodes, a few different horror-themed ones, surprisingly enough. And it's definitely got me more interested in wanting to continue. There is another season and there is a movie out, and I don't know if there's going to be a third season after that, but I think that unless this finale really drops the ball for me somehow, I think we're probably going to continue on. Not right away, of course. As usual, we will take a break and come back to more Hilda in the future. But right now, it's looking pretty good. It's looking like I might want to continue this, which surprises me, but in the best possible way. It makes me happy to have given this a second chance and to be as impressed by it as I am. So, yeah. And with this being a series that I didn't actually get spoiled on much of anything with after originally dropping it, that's really good. That I'm getting into it as much. So, yeah. I don't know where to think this is going to end. We've had little bits and pieces here, but we haven't really had any big ongoing story, so I don't know what they're going to do to close out the season. What they're going to... I assume it's going to have something to do with trolls, but there's not really any ongoing thing with trolls, so I don't know. We had a two-parter before, and it's like, that seemed more like a series closer, honestly, to me. With how big that was, with Hilda going back to the woods and everything. I said it last time, but it's sort of a two-parter. The episodes directly connected into each other, but the two episodes were also their own stories in a way. But still, I could have seen that more as the finale than... Well, I don't know, because I don't know what else could be like a finale at this point. They would have to, I think, bring something back. And I would think it would be the trolls, because those are kind of the big enemy, the big creature of this series. So, otherwise, I don't know. But I am very interested to find out. There is one ongoing plot thread, but I don't really see that as a finale thing. And that's just with the entire mystery of who took Frida's book. But that might end up becoming a bigger deal than I thought. Because I honestly, I figured it would be already concluded by this point. But no, so far, Hilda has not made up with Frida. They're still at odds with each other. And we still never found out what that creature that took the book under Frida's bed was. Again, I don't know how that could be a big finale thing, but maybe it will be. I don't know, maybe it will honestly surprise me in its complexity and intrigue. We'll see. Because that's the only ongoing thing we have at the moment, really. That I can think of, at least. But that, I don't think that has anything to do with trolls, does it? Because if the finale were something other than trolls, that would be really confusing, honestly. Just because, again, it seems like trolls are the main creature of this series, the big one. So having something else be a finale in the first season, just, I don't know. I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm just saying it's a risk with how much they built up the trolls. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll find out. But, I don't know. We're just going to get into this, though. Hope for the best and see how this season ends. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Yeah. Like I said, it's kind of funny getting back into a series that I dropped and realizing that I regret dropping it. And yeah, I regret having done so with Hilda. Again, as I said in the pre-thoughts, it's not the best series out there or anything. It's not like on the level of Owl House or anything, but it's really good. It is still really good. It's really enjoyable. It's a lot more lighthearted than a lot of these other shows. Even with the more action-packed, the more exciting stuff, it's still just in total very lighthearted, very simple, very hopeful and nice and everything. And it has like these good vibes to it. Even this finale, both parts of this, because this was definitely another two-parter, definitely another, except this time it actually all tied together. Unlike last time where it was two separate things that just like led one leading into the other. This time the episodes were actually a two-parter. But there was a lot going on. It was nice and everything, even with all the more exciting stuff added in. But there was a lot. And that would probably be my biggest issue with this finale. And I'm just going to start with this, get this out of the way. There was too much happening. Between the Black Hound, the Nissa, all of them, mind you, but especially Tantu, the main one. I guess they're all called Tantu, but you know what I mean. The Sparrow Scouts, badge ceremony stuff, just everything going on. It was just so much. The Mara returning, and there being more Mara now. I guess there was more Mara before, technically, but we just only saw the one last time. It was too much. It was too much. And technically, while we got the answer for what happened to Frida's book, there was no actual resolution to it. You notice that? Like, we never met the Nissa who did it. We just know now that it was a Nissa. And on top of that, like, we never had Frida really find anything out. And Frida and them did make up, and they did become friends again, but there was no true resolution in the way that like really would feel like super satisfying, I guess. It just felt like because there was so much going on, they just didn't have time to get to it. That is my big issue with this finale, and my only real notable issue. That there's just too much going on, and because of it, it caused all of it to feel a little weaker. And they tried to tie at least a couple things up. Tried to tie the Nissa to the Black Hound and all. But honestly, they make this Black Hound like absolutely terrifying and horrifying at first. And then just kind of explain things away with like, oh, it was this Nissa's pet that it found and everything, and okay. And it was the Nissa that was living in Hilda's house, apparently. It just kind of felt like weak, like half-assed, if I'm being honest. Um, I just feel like, again, there was just too much they wanted to do, and they tried to force it all together, and it was a little much. But the actual events of these two episodes were very entertaining. I did like the portion with Frida and having her reconcile with Hilda and David. I think it was handled well. The Mara themselves, getting to see them and learn about this new Mara, Kelly specifically, really, really leads to some interesting ideas for possibly the future. And the Nissa, in and of themselves, and their spaces in the little hard to reach places in the house and all, it's like I think that's a very neat idea. The Sparrow Scout stuff, I have no real opinion on one way or another. It's just, honestly, that feels like just the Sparrow Scout stuff in this series as a whole. I don't care. I don't dislike it. It's not an issue, but I just haven't felt a reason to care. It's like the series hasn't made me actually like interested in the Sparrow Scout stuff at all. It's just there sometimes. And the issue that Joanna, Hilda's mom, seems to have with the Nissa is never explained. She seems to be like unusually aggressive towards them. But it's never once explained why, and it's just kind of dropped. She eventually just kind of like lets it go, and it's just like, what? And I think that's one of the issues with it being so stuffed full of content, is that it didn't give enough time to develop some of the stuff a little better. As such, it did feel a little rushed. But it was still enjoyable, and you saw, like, when I finished the first episode, I was upset that it left off on a cliffhanger suddenly, because I was super into it at that point. I very much enjoyed it, despite my issues with it here. I thought it was still a very enjoyable, fun, and entertaining finale. And I'm very much interested in continuing this. Like I said in the pre-thoughts, unless the finale did something, like, really bad, I probably would continue it. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, so I am definitely interested in going on to season 2 eventually. But that will, like I said, be in the future, because right now we are going to be taking a break from Hilda, as we do with every show. So not a big surprise. But that begs the question, what do we do now for this space? Because, as you know, this has been sharing a spot with Miss Marvel in the Thursday slot. And so you may be wondering, are we replacing it with anything? Or is Miss Marvel just going to have the Thursday slot all to itself from here on out? And the answer is the latter. There is not going to be a replacement for Hilda. Miss Marvel is just taking the slot completely for itself. And Hilda, the only reason I put Hilda in this slot in the first place was because I did promise I would be getting back to it soon. And I didn't want to hold off for who knows how long, how much longer at that point. So now that we had gotten back to it, now that we have seen it, we can just have Miss Marvel take that space and lose a reaction that I have to get to each week, which actually helps me out a little bit. And then once Miss Marvel ends, obviously we'll replace that. But yeah, for now, that's what's going on with this slot. Miss Marvel is just taking it for itself, and we'll kind of go from there. But in the meantime, tell me what you thought of these final 2 episodes of Hilda season 1. And like I said, we will get to season 2 eventually. You're just going to take a break, come back to it at some point in the future. For now, though, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.